September 11th, 2001, Mr. Dermot O'Connor proposed to Miss Barbara Miller. She said yes. And one has to wonder, how did this happen? Perhaps they were blissfully unaware of the terrorist attacks that had taken place that morning. They could have been camping on a romantic getaway. Perhaps they climbed a mountain, and at the peak, overlooking a vast wilderness, Dermot dropped to his knees and offered up the ring. It wasn't until much later, upon their return to Calgary, when they called a relative with the happy announcement, that they learned of the morning's tragic events. Or perhaps they awoke to the horrific news and spent the morning crouched in front of a television, watching the footage play over and over again. And when Dermot saw the plane crash into the building, he thought to himself, that could be me, that could be us. He turned to look at Barbara's tear-drenched face, and he thought to himself, if I'm going to die tomorrow, I want to spend every second I have left with you. Did it seem blasphemous to celebrate this occasion while the world was grieving? Or was their engagement a ray of sunshine in a world that was suddenly frightening? It's hard to say. Thank you all for coming to the Calgary Blowout at the Arrata Opera Centre. This is the home to Calgary Opera and a number of other arts-related organizations, including Sage Theatre, Bottom Line Productions, and Ground Zero Theatre. Calgary Opera took over this space in September of 2005, calling it the Calgary Opera Centre. In July 2007, it changed its name to the Arrata Opera Centre after Saeed Arrata, whose donation at that time was the single largest individual gift Calgary Opera had received up to that point. But this building has a much longer history than just 2005. And together, tonight, we are going to explore that history. Won't that be fun? Over our time together, I do have one small request to make, and that is that you keep noise to an absolute minimum. This building has a voice, but it is a very quiet voice. Our journey begins on the north end of this very block, where on September 2nd, 1906, the Second Methodist Church of Calgary was erected. In November of that year, its name changed to the Wesley Methodist Church, named after John Wesley, one of the founders of the Methodist movement. It had a small but dedicated congregation, which included the famous suffragist Nellie McClung. Alas, the original structure is no longer standing, but if you were to proceed out behind this building, you would find the St. Elizabeth of Hungary Church, which now sits on the same site. The burgeoning congregation soon outgrew that small wooden frame building, and so the church officials purchased this lot. And on July 14th, 1911, the Honorable W.H. Cushing laid the cornerstone that can still be seen on the southeast corner of this building. The new church was dedicated on December 17th, 1911. It cost $65,000 to construct with a $40,000 mortgage. At first, this did not seem like an outrageous amount to pay back, but subsequent events, including World War I and the Great Depression, led to this mortgage being quite a struggle for the church and its occupants. They, however, were undeterred, and the congregation undertook a wide variety of fundraising efforts. For example, the Good Cheer Club created a wartime cookbook that was published in 1943, and they proceeded to sell over 10,000 copies for a net profit of $2,695.40. 10,000 copies sold. Wouldn't that be nice? Finally, after 33 years, in 1944, the mortgage was retired. To celebrate this occasion, the congregation held a ceremonial mortgage burning. Over 500 people arrived to witness the burning of the mortgage. Over 500 people. Wouldn't that be nice? On his last night as a single man, Dermot O'Connor took in a Calgary Stampeders game at McMahon Stadium. On that night, the Stampeders crushed the Saskatchewan Roughriders in a 33-10 victory. Go Stamps, go. On July 26, 2002, Mr. Dermot O'Connor and Miss Barbara Miller were married here in the sanctuary of the Wesley United Church. It was a rainy Saturday afternoon, and after the ceremony, as they were about to cross the threshold and begin their married life together, disaster struck. Or more specifically, lightning struck. As they were exiting the building, they did not use the doors that you entered through tonight, but rather they were headed for the church's main archway, which is hidden behind these doors at the back of the room. As they were about to cross the threshold, the photographer yelled at them to stop, and a bright yellow flash, as if heaven sent, filled the archway. There was an echoing crash, and instead of the wedding bells the couple may have been expecting, fire alarms screamed through the church. Later, Dermot admitted that the incident had scared the living daylight out of them. However, the couple steadfastly believed that this was a good omen for their marriage and may indeed have been a divine message. If any of you are music enthusiasts, you may already be aware that the Wesley Methodist Church, and later, after Union, the Wesley United Church, was well known for having one of the city's best choirs. In fact, every December, the church's choir would do a full-length presentation of Handel's Messiah, which was a very popular Christmas time activity for many Calgarians. A gentleman named Don, who was a staff writer for the Calgary Herald, had the privilege of seeing one such presentation of Handel's Messiah on December 15th, 1965. And on the following day, he had this to say in the Calgary Herald. While it was a commendable effort in general, the Wesley United Church Choir's presentation of Handel's Messiah at the Jubilee Auditorium Monday night had some kinks that demand correction. First, never have I heard elephants trample through mud so loudly as this ensemble when chorus time came. Surely some effort may be made to train the group not only in voice, but in poise. When the choir came to its feet, it rumbled louder than any crescendo it achieved vocally all evening. Zing. His review went on to use such words as out of tune, irritating, shallow, and somewhat drab, which was in fact a subtitle in the article. It also went on to include this following passage, which is perhaps the most shocking of them all. Combine all this with the blaring horns in the Hallelujah chorus, which incidentally, the audience forgot to sing along with. and one was subjected to the wildest cacophony of sound befitting a popular recording. Can you even imagine an audience that did not sing along with the Hallelujah chorus? It is common knowledge that when